7 things we wish we knew before buying our very first house.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
How's it going, guys? This is Ryan.
And this is Taylor.
Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, Ryan kind of summed it up pretty good. We're just talking about 7 things we wish we knew before buying our first house. Jumping right into it, what you are pre-approved for isn't necessarily what you should be spending on a house. I mean, if you're scraping together and just squeaking by, you're like, oh, if I add this little penny or I, save this last little paycheck, then I'll be able to afford this house based on what I'm pre-approved for. Chances are that trend is going to continue in your monthly payments. You're going to keep scraping by at the end of every month when the mortgage payment comes around. You're like, oh, let me scramble together that little bit. So whatever you're pre-approved for isn't necessarily what you should spend because the bank doesn't care about your quality of life. They just care about their money.
And rolling straight on to the next one, a lot of owning a house and taking the stress out is about who you know. If you have a friend that's a good realtor, that takes a lot of stress out about home searching, a lot of the questions you might have. You can ask them on the fly. You can have them go with you, and you trust them. You know them versus someone that you met for one time with the biggest expense of your life. Yeah. You're going to say, hey, show me around, and yeah, that sounds good. Let me get all the advice I need, answer all my questions. They need that paycheck. So they're going to sometimes just tell you what you need to hear. But at the same time, you want to have someone you trust. Same thing once you own the house. If you have a dad that's in construction or you have a friend that does floors or anything like that, things are much smaller problems than you think. Versus if you don't know anybody at all, you don't know anybody that's handy, then you look at it and you say, okay, well, looks like I have rot in my floorboards. Yeah. Well, that's a huge deal. Have a contractor come out. It's going to be $30,000, something insane, $50,000, because we have to rip up, repair, and then put new flooring in, yada, yada. Oh, that makes sense. That's just what it costs. No, if you have someone, you could do it yourself. They could show you how to do it. It's just a lot about who you know. So much more than I thought. So much more. You can watch a video on it, sure. They make it look really easy. Trust me, it doesn't always go that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this. If you're someone who's toured houses in, say, different cities, chances are if you just requested a tour on Zillow or something, you got assigned different realtors. It's pretty night and day between a lot of these realtors. Not all of them are created equal. So you got to find one that you can trust. If you don't know someone personally, maybe ask someone that you know that recently bought a house, hey, do you recommend your realtor? They may recommend them, they may not. So, you're going to have to do a little bit of digging, honestly, but it is 100% worth it and necessary. Now, who you know becomes that much more important if you're one of those people who plan on becoming a real estate investor. You meet very few people that don't have a team dedicated to it, so it just shows how important that is. But this next thing that we're going to talk about that we wish we knew is one that it's kind of just going to be something that is going to happen to you regardless, at least most of the time. Everyone that I've ever talked to, it happened to me, where right before closing, you're going to get this notification that, your closing costs went up by $1,000, $2,000, and it's the day before closing. And you're going to ask them, okay, what is this random little cost that I just got assessed? They're like, oh, it's this unavoidable little fee. There's nothing you can do about it, really. You're like, well, why wasn't that estimated in a couple weeks ago when I first got my estimated closing cost? And they're going to give you some roundabout answer that's not going to be that satisfactory. But the reality is you're just going to have to fork over an extra $1,000 or so at closing if you do want to close on that house.
But we've both noticed it. Like going into closing, you got all your numbers, you're good. And the day or two before closing, you get, oh, here's your updated closing cost just going in. You're like, updated? What got updated?
Yeah. So that new couch you wanted, you're going to have to wait a little while. But if you're one of those people who, hey, my closing cost went down than what was estimated, let us know in the comments. We'd be very curious to find out if that's the case. Hasn't happened to anyone I know, but, maybe it has to you.
Where's this unicorn we've been looking for? Rolling into the next one, no matter what age home you buy, you will have repairs, you will have maintenance. The common notion that the older the home, the more repairs is pretty much true. You're going to deal with a lot of that. But at the same time, just because you bought a brand new home doesn't mean you're going to have no repairs. For example, the house we bought recently, or not super recently, but the most recent, was a newer house. It was only, I think, 2 years old at the time. Why would I ever imagine I'm going to have repairs? It's almost brand new. There was an inspection when it was done being built, and when we bought the home, there was an inspection. We hired an inspector, did all the extra tests, and everything got the clean bill of health, good to go. First winter comes around, we have no heat. The heat doesn't work, doesn't function at all. And we were told during the inspection they couldn't turn on the heat because it was already warm outside. And I was very frustrated then, and I was very frustrated when it was 40 degrees inside. So we had to pay all the fees for emergency timing to come out and fix our heat, inclement weather for someone to come out, and all that stuff. It was way more expensive than it should have been for a brand new home, essentially. But that's what you deal with. Things happen no matter what the age of the home is.
Yeah. And if you're looking for a good home inspector, because it is important, you want to catch as much as possible, do your research into this. Chances are your realtor will have a recommendation, but if you don't really like your realtor and don't think they have your best interest at heart, don't go with their recommendation, because they may just have someone that's going to tell you all that you need to know to close the sale. So make sure that you're actually getting someone who takes pride in their work, because that is something that happens in the real estate market. I know it for a fact. I've talked to people that are like, yeah, the inspector said this, but in reality it's this. So that, unfortunately, is a bit of a reality you have to deal with. So again, finding good people is super important. Now, one thing to note is, even if you have a great inspector, sometimes your insurance agency will send out their own inspector to inspect the house after you've bought it. And, you're not going to know this person. Okay. They're not going to know anything about the report that you've already received, really. They're just going to look at the house and be like, okay, this may need to be, fixed before we can insure this home. That happened to me, where everything was fine in my inspection. Then the insurance agency sent out someone. They went on my roof like, this looks a little iffy to me. So they, were sending me mail. They're like, oh, you're going to have to fix this house. Fix the roof, basically. And so I had roofing people come out. They're like, oh, no, this is no issue. So I had 3 different roofing agencies come out say, no, it doesn't need to be fixed. Luckily enough, all those consultations were free. But I sent all that to my agency, and only then did they stop bugging me about fixing the roof. So that is something that you also have to be weary about.
And looking at the next thing we wish we knew before buying our very first house is, it feels like, okay, bought the house, got my monthly payment, now I pay this for the next 30 years and I'm all good. Psych. Every year it just about goes up. Almost every year your payment goes up. Sometimes not much, other times a lot. It depends on the situation. But typically your insurance and your taxes go up almost every year. And because they're based on the value of the home, and historically real estate goes up, not necessarily every year, but over time it goes up. So those prices are going to go up, again, over time. During COVID, a lot of people were hit with huge increases because their values shot up to the sky, to the moon. And then when the reassessed value came back, everything went sky high with it. The insurance, the taxes were insane. So just pay attention, be aware of that. Almost every year it feels like it, but it's guaranteed to eventually go up.
Yeah, I mean, you hear some real horror stories, but like, oh, my, things went up several $1,000s a month. I mean, for me personally, I live down in Florida. And so right after storm season, or right before storm season, hurricane season, I was already receiving mail. Your insurance is probably going to go up. Well, I didn't get hit with a storm, but my insurance still went up, so my monthly payment went up about just over $400 a month. While that may or may not sound like a lot, I assure you it is, because that's now something I'm paying in addition every month.
And when we say guaranteed to go up, typically this is in appreciating markets, because again, it's based on the assessed value of the home. So as the home value goes up, but it's also in very dangerous. Maybe a new map has been drawn by FEMA and there's a new flood area, so your insurance is going to go up like crazy, or you get dropped, period. Or there's a lot of hurricanes coming through that area, or tornadoes, whatever the situation. It just depends. So we say guarantee. We say guarantee loosely, if that's not an oxymoron.
Now, nearing the end of our list of things we wish we knew, everything is just simply going to take longer. Searching for a house in today's market is probably going to take a while. Longer than you want, sometimes longer than you expect, and everything that comes along with home ownership is probably going to take a while. I remember when I first bought a home, I told everybody, Ryan here, my family, my parents, I'm like, I'll have this house spick and spam and fixed up in 2 months. I'll maybe add a roommate at that point. Life is going to be okay.
And how long did it really take?
Oh, yeah. I think it was almost a perfect calendar year before I had that house. And I'm still doing little touch-ups here and there. So it never ends. But to the point where I was actually willing to add a roommate was, I think, 11 months. So, and part of me is like, maybe if I knew this and this and that, I could have got it done in 2 months. That's just my arrogance talking. At least that's what everyone's telling me. And it's probably true. Everything just takes a long time. I mean, if a contractor gives you a quote, I can get this done in a week. It's not going to get done in a week.
Right.
At least very rarely. Just because there are things that either, due to something happening on his end or maybe further on down the supply line, things happen and things just get drawn out. That's the reality.
And not only looking for a house, but not only doing a project at a house, not only a contractor, but we can't emphasize enough, just about everything to do with the house takes longer.
Oh, yeah.
You get into it, and now all of a sudden you need permits. Permits should only take a day or two. Oh, it's going to take multiple weeks to months. What in the world? Okay, well, if I work 8 hours a day and I work for a week, obviously I can lay flooring in this small area. If this hiccup comes up, they run out of the material. There's just something for everything. Any project you look up on YouTube, if it's going to take 5 hours, it's going to take a weekend. Always plan longer and just be happy if it's less.
Oh, yeah.
So right before we do the last one on our list, we do want to say we actually had a lot of fun looking back at those memories and making this list, putting it together.
It's fun now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's fun now that we look back. But if you guys enjoyed this video, this list, you want us to make another list or a different type of list like this of Wish We Knew, please let us know in the comments. If you have your own list, put a couple of those in the comments. We'd love to kind of go back and forth on that. We just look forward to reading those comments. And again, this was a fun list to put together, so we'd love to do another one like it. We need to know your feedback on it though first. But rolling into our last one on the list is don't be emotional. It's so hard. You're buying your house, you're going to live in for a good while, and it's super hard not to be emotional. But try your best and just keep stepping back. When you go into something and you're like, love this house, love this kitchen, step back and go, okay, take a deep breath. Does this make sense for us? Are we overbuying because of this? Is this the wrong neighborhood but the right house? Just ask yourself, take inventory, talk to your significant other if you're buying with somebody else, talk to your parents, whoever you can, and go, does this actually make sense? Am I crazy or did I jump both feet in? Just to catch yourself. We almost caught ourselves. We liked the house, we liked an area, and we kept going up and up and up because something came up, and we started out of our budget, then we went higher out of our budget, then they came back and said they won't go any lower, so we went even higher, but then thank God it fell through because we were going to be paying on that for years and years, and we ended up with a great house that we love, but that almost got us in a situation just because we liked the house so much, and we fell in love with it, even though we talk about it all the time. That was not the right move.
Like, kind of taking a step back is something difficult to do, but super necessary. And another thing, don't show your emotions, especially to the buyer or buyer's agent. Like, if they know that you're in love with this house, the reality is, even if the buyer, sympathizes with you and likes you, the buyer's agent's going to be like, well, we know they like it, so do this and this. We're going to factor that in when they negotiate with you. So, I'm not saying be deceptive or anything, but keep your cards kind of close to the chest. Take a step back every once in a while. Really assess it before you make that final decision.
And again, we just had a great time making this video. Now that we can look back on it, it's not currently happening. Hopefully you guys got something out of this, learned a little bit. Let us know something you didn't know or never thought about in the comments. And again, let us know if you like this type of content or this type of video. We look forward to making more of it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next one.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.